this past week, a lot of the studios and networks had their upfronts, which used to be a huge thing. I remember as a younger guy loving the upfronts and seeing what the networks were going to announce for shows, what was being canceled, and all that stuff. And it was like something that for me is like how a lot of people these days tend to make an event out of the draft, the NFL draft or NBA draft. That'd be like that for me. It was like I was sitting there waiting to see news on if my favorite show got picked up for another season and what other
Right.
new shows were going to be announced and little previews that we could get for it and that kind of thing. One of the things that Disney had their upfronts this year, and they announced a couple things. They announced a few things, but of concern to us, I think, would be the Marvel stuff that they mentioned. And one was that they gave us dates for Loki season 2 and another show that was going. Well, that is a spinoff of the Hawkeye series, which is Echo.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have the dates with me, but if I remember somewhat, I think that Echo is in November and maybe Loki is in, I want to say October,
I
maybe.
think it's October. I'm looking now as we revamp and talk. Looks like
Okay.
October 6th is
Okay.
when the first episode, anyway, of Loki season 2 drops.
Yeah. So then I'm pretty sure that Echo is in November. So it was interesting just because, as they typically do, Loki was going to be doing its normal thing when it has its release. But alongside the news of them talking about Echo, they mentioned that they're trying a new model, and Echo will be dropped all episodes at once, day one. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, that doesn't seem like a new model. Maybe it's a new model for them, but
It is a new model for them, I think.
it sure is, at least from what I know of anything that they've done for Marvel and of Star Wars. Maybe they've had some other series, Disney Plus series, that they've dropped all at once. I don't know. But what makes it strange is that if you're trying a new model to drop everything at once, would you not do that with Loki as well? Like, what's what are we saying about Echo that gets dropped all at once, but Loki will still do the week to week thing?
You
What
know,
do
I
you
had
think?
that screen up just now, and maybe you just said and I missed it. Like, do we know how many episodes of Echo there are? Are
I
we
don't
given any of
recall
that
if they
information?
said they might have, but I want to say it was either like their normal 6 to 8 episodes. It might be something like around that. I want
Yeah,
to six is sticking out
I'm
in my
seeing
head.
here 6.
Okay.
Yeah. Loki, and I mean, I'm seeing here as well. If this is correct, Loki season 2 will run for 6 weeks, starting on October 6th. So I guess also 6 episodes, I assume.
Hmm.
And then Echo, Disney Plus will release all 6 episodes of Echo on November 29th. Um, I'm sorry, I'm so distracted. What was the last question you just asked me?
Just pretty much like, does that sound a little fishy to
it,
you?
it
Like,
sounds
what does
super
it
fishy.
say about Echo that?
There's a lot of questions, and immediately as soon as I read it, I mean, maybe this is completely wrong for me to just go there with this thought, but I was like, I feel like that means something's wrong with this show, and they're just like, it's
Yeah,
not worthy of a week to week release schedule. Just drop it at once and dismiss it.
yeah.
You know, that was the first thought I had, and I have a hard time getting rid of that thought.
Mm,
I have this feeling like, not that it's terrible, or I would almost think they would just not release it and pull a Warner
yeah.
Brothers and just just get rid of it. But I maybe it's just not up to a level of what maybe Iger is like wanting
Mm,
to release on Disney Plus as a week to week kind of thing, and is like, you know what, just drop it at once. And it's like it's almost like treating it like just a lesser kind of Marvel show addition to the canon, if you will. That's my thought, because you and I think fall in the same boat. I am a fan of a release schedule week to week. Uh, in fact, so much so that I question Netflix's sanity at this point for not releasing things like week to
Mm,
week. I mean, the conversation is just there among everybody with these shows. Like, Last of Us, it was just such a treat watching that week after week. Right now with Succession, watching that week after week is just
yep.
so much fun, and talking about it all week and then waiting for the next episode. The, Having a show just dumped all at once, it doesn't even come close to comparing to that experience.
Yeah.
But I could see,
It's like the
I'm
different.
I'm naming two shows that are fantastic shows. I mean, Echo is probably just not worthy of that kind of schedule, maybe, even though I would still argue you should still release it week to week, but I don't know.
It's like the difference between this be to be really out there for a second. It's to me, it's like the difference between edging and then just going all at once. I mean, the edging is the buildup.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting.
Well, I'm coming hot with the analogies this week.
Oh
um,
man.
so clearly, Disney Plus is saying that Echo is not worthy of the buildup and excitement. We're just going to give it to you all at once.
Yeah.
Do with
That's
that
fair.
as you may. And Loki is worth edging for, apparently. So, yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
that
I don't
is.
know. It's terrible just because they have to use this weird language that you just easily see through, because it's like, oh, we're trying this new model, but yeah, but why for that one show? Like, why wouldn't you do it for
Right.
Loki as well? So it's like, come on, like, obviously we know you just can't come right out and say we think this show is trash and we're just gonna give it to you all at once. But
Right.
I mean, don't insult our intelligence by saying you're trying a new model when you're only doing it with the one show. So
Yeah, but I mean, what do you expect them to say? I mean,
I
they're
know
not
that's what I
just
mean.
gonna.
They can't really just come
Yeah,
out and say it's
I can't
trash,
just say
but
it's trash.
at the same time, they could have come up with. I would have even bought the excuse that, well, because of everything and the schedules and how tight it is, we want to make sure that this one doesn't bleed into our next release for a Disney Plus series, and have something ready to go by like January, February, or something, so that it could feasibly fit into what their logic would be for that. Like, we're backed up on shows and we've got them all ready and we want to only do so much. So come up with like at least a little something. Just say, we're trying to time these out in a different sort of way. But
Right.
yeah, obviously there's not a lot that they could say that would really be able to help save it. And so it really is disappointing, just because while the character didn't do too much in Hawkeye, it was enough to at least set up the character to make me curious about her show. And knowing that the actress, I want to say her name is Olana
I really should know that.
Cox
I
or
do not.
something. I can't remember exactly, but knowing that she is hearing
Yeah.
impaired in real life,
Alaqua Cox?
Alakwa Cox. Okay, yeah,
If I'm
that
saying that right.
she's, I think so, hearing impaired in real life, it made for an interesting character. And so I really wanted to see more of that. But there had been for a while now reports that it was a troubled set and that it was
Mm,
not really coming together well. So that just seems to add more credence to that, and the fact that they're just going to release it all at once. So I don't
that's
know. I
tough.
still have my fingers crossed. I hope it can turn out to be better than purported, but we'll see.
And I do feel bad that Yasha's not here to join in on this, because I'm of course taking the point of view of someone who is super pro week to week schedule. I think, I don't want to speak for him, but in the past he said he actually likes shows dropped
He
all at once,
does.
and when we talked about this in particular, kind of off, on our offline chat, he seemed to be a big fan of this idea, which
Yeah.
I disagree with, but it'd been interesting to hear his take on it. So, wish he would.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you would like to help us out here on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. We really appreciate it. By the way, this segment comes from the Flicker Effect podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, basically wherever you listen, just search for Flicker Effect. We are also on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at Flicker_Effect. Thanks again for joining us.